So are we able to separate a person's personal actions from the music?
Nah, you gotta ask our, bro.
I'm asking you. I'm asking you.
That's a
All
tough one.
three of y'all.
That's a tough one because I be looking at like R. Kelly. I look at that. That was the first example to me, at least. Like, are you gonna still support his music
That's
through all of this? Like,
yeah.
that was the first example, and people always said it's two different people. Like, whatever he did there, but musically he was a genius. So some people felt like that was okay because it had nothing to do with the music.
Yeah, I don't know Robert, but I know R. Kelly.
Right.
I listen to R. Kelly. I don't know Robert, but yeah, exactly. Two different
Dog,
people.
I mean, I guess it depends on what you do.
Right.
You
right.
feel me? But when you talk about young girls,
Yeah.
I don't got no daughters.
Yeah.
But that does rub me a different way as a grown ass man.
Right.
Whether you're manipulating, however you choose to do it, I don't associate with those. I feel like there's some things you don't touch.
All right, Eric. So how'd you feel about the Michael Jackson situation? Let's start with him first, because that was around our era, of course, but we were younger then. But
That made me uncomfortable, but I wasn't old enough to know that you had like a choice of judging judging music based on what a person was personally doing. Like when that happened, it wasn't like social media and things like that. You didn't know a lot about artists.
No.
You knew their music. Now you see, because so much is put out there, we know a lot about artists. Sometimes you ain't never even see your favorite artist. Live concert on a poster. If you did get a poster, that was something you cherished. Now we see so much, we able to judge them. So I didn't know how to judge any celebrities' allegations.
But Michael Jackson was never found guilty. He was accused of.
he was.
And he was only guilty of, like, in his he did, little boys did sleep on his bed,
Right.
right? But he ain't never, according to the what's that, the case,
Right.
He never touched them or did anything wrong, illegal, that he shouldn't be doing. But does it look bad for a grown ass man to have little boys in his bed? Absolutely. But we're talking about Michael Jackson, who was robbed of at the same time, who didn't really have the childhood as us,
Right.
right? Who he
Correct.
just felt he was being innocent, who was a
Correct.
star so young. Can I understand that mentality sometimes? I guess sometimes I was like, well, if you, I was like, it can kind of make sense. Like, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, I can see that. Because he was always like a little big
different.
kid. Yeah, he was different.
He was different. Like looking now, if I had to guess, and I don't like to take, today I don't like to have opinions on things I don't really know about. But just to voice my opinion on it, I don't think he did it, because I seen an interview where they asked him, all right, would you still invite kids over to your house? And he said, absolutely. So,
I remember that.
like, so if anybody guilty, gonna stay away from it. Anybody, even if you're not guilty and you just insecure or you trying to play it safe, you gonna stay away from it. The fact that he said absolutely,
Yeah.
mean that he stood on a much stronger level of integrity, to where the public opinion didn't even matter. What he knew was true. So when you move that way, against popular opinion, against what the lawyers might advise, against the consequences, what you're gonna lose, then I'm like, oh, you have a different set of morals, to where you living in your truth. And so I was like, nah, I don't think he did it. He on a different type of spectrum.
Yeah.
To where I could see him feeling more comfortable around youth.
So to answer your question, I haven't bumped R. Kelly since.
You haven't?
No, I haven't bumped R. Kelly since the situation.
I'm gonna be honest, man. It's hard to not bump him. You know what I'm saying? And when I listen to my music, I listen to it on shuffle, and I got like about 4,000 songs on my phone. And if he comes on, I don't cut it off. Around people, I don't play Mr. Kelly. You know what I'm saying? I don't play R. Kelly around people. But me alone, if I'm home cleaning, whatever like that, yes, I will listen to him. I do.
I still play R. Kelly. You know why? Because we have to take responsibility. if you listen to some of his songs, he was crying out to us. There's a fight and a battle that artists, if you paying attention, you see the transitions they going through. He had this hypersexualized upbringing, and then he also had his religious background, his faith in God. You see these ups and downs that you'll oscillate throughout the music industry. A lot of Michael Jackson went through the same thing. He was in Thriller. He was a zombie. Then he went to saving the world. And you look at Tupac and his variations. So the people we ignore when these artists are crying out to us, and we not taking responsibility of our contribution to where that causes artists to even give us the music and portray the image that we want to see from them.
Can I say something real quick? Or a quick sidebar. The reason why I still do listen to him is his. Whenever a song come out that you guys like, don't it remind you of that time when it came out?
Yeah.
Like such a moment. Like I have rememberable moments what I was doing when that song came out. Like I know exactly at pinpoint where I was and what I done to this song.
So if your daughter was one of them victims, would you be listening to it too?
Man, listen. Okay, so my
Yes or
sister,
no?
my sister asked me the same question. I think I would say if I had a daughter, it'd probably be different. But I don't, because she's been in some situations like that. She don't fuck with them. So I understand. It hit me hard because she's my sister when she said that. So yeah. It's tough. It's tough.
Do you know how normal that was?
So if I tell you I have my kid with his music playing,
I don't know. I guess I'm hearing
No,
you,
I'm
but
saying I'm not condoning. We moved forward to where we evolved to where we no longer allow those activities. But what he was doing, there was, and from how it played out, because many of them women still stayed with him into their adult years. Going back, that's how it was done. Fathers was giving their 13-year-old daughters away. If you go back far enough, and not even too far, let's just go to colonial, horse and buggy. A 13-year-old girl was at the level of maturity as a 35-year-old woman today. So how you was pairing people based on availability for one, the staggering of the age differences, and still having to reproduce. So as a civilization, we just now getting away from it. We have enough options to where you can be involved with someone of a closer age. But there's details within the R. Kelly situation where parents knew what was going on. There was stuff that was just kept a secret, that it was supposed to be none of our business. And then we decided much later, people decided that we no longer comfortable with it, and now we want to throw this man under the bus, knowing that how we all as a species, how we came about. And you would see a 14-year-old girl with a 30-year-old man. That was very, very normal in our recent past.
But then the laws have changed. I mean, granted, I could understand back in the day how it was, but there's so many things that are in place now.
Yeah, it bothers
So
me.
Marcus Houston and the girl he with, how do you feel about that?
I don't have all the statistical. Isn't she 20 or something like that? I don't know. I seen a post, but I don't really know exactly his story. To be honest with you, I don't know the whole story 100%.
So if I had a daughter, let's say she's 16, the values that I might want for my daughter, and this may sound a little creepy, but the values that I might want for my daughter may not be in a a guy that's her age.
It
So
has
when
to
I
be.
so I would hope, but if you raising your daughter a certain way, if you had that luxury and you have some very very high standards, and if you're looking at the options, it might be an older dude. Like I look at Marcus Houston, I'm like, he appeared to be a pretty solid and stand up dude. He's heavy in his faith. He wear church clothes every weekend. It looked like. I'm like, I could see a father being okay with his 20-year-old daughter being with a Marcus Houston.
But you say 20, 20, I mean, I think after 18, it's kind of like you grown. And if that's what you choose, if the person 25, 30, if they 40, I feel like, yeah, that's on you. I kind of feel like you can make mistakes. You can test it out. But anything under 18 is why I still don't think you know it all. Like I struggle with that. Like I get why Boosie said what he said too, a little bit about, like I just think 18 is that number. You hit 18, hey, I want you to find somebody mature, responsible, got a good head on their shoulders and doing the right thing. But below 18, I guess I just struggle with that. And okay, to that point too. So maybe if that's what he was doing, let's say that was arranged and they were cool with it, I guess that's where those NDA come into play, I'm assuming.
Mm-hmm.
But it looks like, look at Lizzo right now. Now she's going through the same thing with her dancers, right? They were forced to do tasks, whether it's sexual, non-sexual, things that weren't known. Whether the banana inside the vagina thing, eating a banana outside of a vagina. I heard some crazy things. And now 6 more people just came out and saying, yes, they experienced the same thing. They're being manipulated to do things that they didn't want to do. Could they have walked away? Yeah, absolutely. But we're talking about grown folks, though.
It's more than just a podcast. It's exposure.